Greetings, esteemed companions, a fair day to you all. Glenn here, returning once more to your esteemed presence for the 16th episode of our journey. I'm thrilled to share my recent visit to Patrick Henry's Scotchtown, nestled in the heart of Virginia's Commonwealth. Hosted by the Patrick Henry Scotchtown Museum, this event marked the 250th anniversary of the 1775 Gunpowder incident, a pivotal moment in our nation's history. Scotchtown is proudly preserved by Preservation Virginia, a nonprofit dedicated to safeguarding Virginia's historic treasures. In today's episode, I'll reflect on this memorable visit, sharing insights, videos, photos, while diving deeper into the mission of Preservation Virginia and the wonderful people who generously shared their time and expertise with us. My son Zach played a key role in this episode, capturing photos and videos as well as handling the editing with his keen eye for detail. He first learned about the Scotchtown event through his photography group, which organized a group outing to Patrick Henry's Scotchtown. When we arrived, we were greeted by a vibrant couple brimming with passion for history. They shared stories of their cross-country RV adventures, weaving historic sites like Scotchtown into their remarkable journey. Jessica, one half of the vibrant couple we met, captivated us with her tales of their adventures across America's historic sites. We could have listened to her stories all day. I was particularly drawn to their eye-catching scarves, adorned with buttons and pins from their travels. They kindly shared the website where I could purchase one, and I couldn't resist getting one for myself. It's a perfect keepsake or gift for upcoming 250th semi-quincentennial celebrations. Here's the scarf, as you can see. While Patrick Henry's life is a rich topic worthy of its own episode, today we'll focus on our unforgettable visit to Scotchtown for the Gunpowder incident. Scotchtown, the only original surviving home of Patrick Henry, stands as a testament to his revolutionary legacy. From 1771 to 1778, Henry lived there, crafting his iconic "Give me liberty or death" speech and other pivotal ideas that fueled the American Revolution. Preservation Virginia acquired Scotchtown in 1958, carefully maintaining the historic house alongside its created outbuilding and gardens. In April 1775, the Gunpowder incident ignited tensions in Virginia. Fearing rebellion after the battles of Lexington and Concord, Royal Governor Lord Dunmore ordered British Marines to seize gunpowder from the Williamsburg magazine. This act outraged Virginians, who viewed it as a direct threat to their ability to resist the British rule. From his Scotchtown home, Patrick rallied a Hanover County militia to confront Dunmore, demanding the gunpowder return or compensation. This bold stand inflamed revolutionary fervor, eroded royal authority, and hastened Dunmore's eventual departure from Virginia. This month, on May 3rd, 2025, Scotchtown hosted a vibrant reenactment of the Gunpowder incident, bringing history to life with militia drills and musket demonstrations. Here's footage from our arrival at Patrick Henry's Scotchtown, setting the stage for an unforgettable day. Hey folks, good afternoon. Here we are in Scotchtown, Patrick Henry's home, and there's a big festival today out here in Scotchtown, the Gunpowder incident, and they're doing a lot of demonstrations, and we're going to do a quick little tour of the house, show you some of the grounds, and hope you enjoy. Thanks.
He makes out of a bandit here. He makes a nice little thing.
We'll dive into the house and cellar soon, but first, let's explore the militia demonstrations led by Todd, who delivered an outstanding performance, sharing his deep knowledge and passion for history.
Good afternoon. Welcome to Patrick Henry's Scotchtown. What you are seeing portrayed right now is the Hanover Independent Company. This was an extra legal military force raised here in Hanover County in response to all of the political unrest that's happening in the colony of Virginia. If you go back, so we're portraying May of 1775. If you go back a year, what you had happen in 1774 is in late 1773, the British closed the port of Boston. That kind of escalates things in terms of the conflict between the colonists and the mother country. Virginia, in solidarity with the Bostonians, call for a day of prayer and fasting, which really irks our royal governor, Lord Dunmore, and he dissolves the House of Burgesses. At that point, things start to break down politically in Virginia, and so you start having the official British government under the royal governor, and then you also have committees of correspondence. You have the Virginia Convention. You have independent companies forming by private citizens on their own. So we are not part of the militia. We are a bunch of volunteers from Hanover County who've come together to train and drill for our mutual defense and defense of our English constitutional rights. In fact, that's one of the mottos early on. We all know Patrick Henry's "Give me liberty or give me death," but another popular phrase at the time was "Virginia for constitutional liberties." We're about 14 months off from the Declaration of Independence. We're not talking about wanting to be separate from the mother country. We are talking about asserting our rights as Englishmen and wanting the king to come and hear our grievances and to work to an agreement. Well, Lexington and Concord happens on April 19, 1775. A couple days later, long before news of that reaches Virginia, Dunmore's already feeling uncertain enough about his position in the colony that he orders Marines to seize the gunpowder that's being kept in Williamsburg. And they take that off to a ship in the York River. Patrick Henry and many other Virginians are incensed by this. This is worth about 360 pounds sterling in British currency. This is a lot of money, and it's owned by the colony. So 700 men gather in Fredericksburg, but cooler heads prevail and say, we're not going to do anything. But Hanover Independent Company, forming under Patrick Henry, about 50 men, they decide to do something. And what they decide to do is to march on Williamsburg to demand powder back or to be paid for it. And so what you're seeing here is what the Hanover Independent Company may have looked like at that time. Think about maybe twice this many men. Lieutenant, if you want to go ahead and start.
Yes,
Okay.
we're going to maneuver to face the other direction first.
Company, by the left oblique, march!
So you can see that we're all dressed fairly similarly in hunting shirts, round hats, and many of the men have blue leggings on that. This is intentional because, first of all, this is a very cheap and easy way to get a bunch of men looking similar. But also, this is frontier dress. The hunting shirt actually develops in the frontier by Native Americans taking common shirts and splitting them down the middle as an outer garment. And then Anglo-Americans take that look and start adding fringe and capes and other things to make it decorative. And this becomes kind of very emblematic of frontier Virginia. Patrick Henry was the captain of the Hanover Independent Company. It happened close to this date and 250 years ago. I mean, so we are, you know, as close as we can be to where it happened, the date it happened, wearing the clothing of what the Hanover Independent Company would have looked like, you know, as we saw or would have had 250 years ago.
Yeah. It's phenomenal, the 250 that's coming up.
Yeah.
The semi-quincentennial over there, they call it. Yeah. I do one little episode on my channel on the 250 that's coming up.
Well, we've got 8 years worth of content for you then.
Yeah, wow.
Because, I mean, the war goes to 1783.
Right. Well, Todd, it's great to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah, and
Oh, thanks for
appreciate you
coming.
letting us.
Yeah, happy to.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yeah.
Enjoy.
That was great. Todd, your presentation was exceptional. Thank you. Now let's turn to the thrilling musket firing demonstrations that brought the gunpowder incident to life.
So then you charge the rest of the powder and the ball down the barrel. You use a rammer to ram it down, and that gets it to the bottom. So then when you pull the trigger, that flint hits the hammer, opens it up, makes a spark, lights the powder in the pan. There's a touch hole, a small hole in the side of the barrel. That flash goes into the barrel, pushes the ball out, sends it downfield. So the shot could go hundreds of yards. It's probably accurate to about 50 to 75 yards, but many of the people who you see here black powder hunting season is longer than regular hunting season, and so now they're firing by platoons. This is one way of, you could have one group loaded while the other one's firing, so that they support each other. Does anybody have any questions? So militia service was compulsory from 16 to 45. In some states that's to 60, especially when the war gets going. But you were, as early as 16, as old as 60, depending on where and when during the war. Now you may have some younger boys serving as musicians, but you also had adult musicians. But that's a role that you're the stereotypical drummer boy, type of thing. That was common, but it wasn't. Drummers weren't just boys.
A heartfelt thank you to Todd and the militiamen for generously sharing their time and expertise, and for allowing us to capture this remarkable event on film. Next, let's take a stroll through the beautifully preserved grounds of Scotchtown.
Like you're going through town, right? And then you guys stop for a little bit.
Starting town on Thursday night, camping overnight, getting up, doing morning programs there. Then we march to a different town, stop, do programs in the middle of the day. Then we march to a private property farm where we're crashing on Friday night. And then I think I want to say we're up, walk to the boats, cross the lake, walk to the pool. I think that's the itinerary, but I'm not sure. I'm just showing up with a gun, dog. I'm just showing up with a gun, and whatever Steve Lily tells me to do, I'm like, all right, cool.
And then what are you doing the
So cooking here in the kitchen house, this kitchen house is actually a reproduction, but it is built on the original footprint of the kitchen that was here. And if you take a tour of the house, you can see that's the entryway to the dining room right there. So very conveniently placed. Typically, if the militia was out on a march or muster like this, they would bring their own food from home because they would have just gotten called up. So whatever they bring their own rations. But for a kitchen type service, which is what I'm doing here, what I did for breakfast was porridge, basically oatmeal, with bacon, very common, very hearty. For lunch, I'm doing what's called plowman's lunch, and this is going to be a cold lunch with ham, as you can see I'm slicing right now, bread and cheese. I'm sorry. Over the butter. All right, but no, there was cheese and butter, okay, and bread. So I'll be slicing all that up. Unfortunately, you guys kind of caught me unawares. And then, especially on a hot day, but that would be very common. And you still see that in a lot of British pubs, right? You go in there or you're pint at lunch, and it comes with the plowman's lunch. It's going to be basically that same selection. Also, the guys who'd be working in the fields would have taken that with them when they're out, just throw it into their haversack or the wallet. And that's what they would eat, right? So, I appreciate that stuff. So that's what you're going to see done, and that's what I'm doing right now. Kind of reversing the script because a lot of times you'll see a hot noonday meal and then a supper at night of leftovers. So I'm kind of flipping it a little bit. But for dinner, we're going to be doing pork stew, so pork being a very staple in the South, especially here in Virginia, with rice and then basically all the vegetables that you see right over here. So I'll be preparing that as soon as the noontime meal is done. So no rest for the wicked.
Awesome.
Yep.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
Oh, you're absolutely welcome. Thanks for coming out. Did you get a chance to see the drill? If you didn't, we're going to be doing another one here shortly.
Yeah, we saw part of it, but we're going to wait and see the rest of it.
Okay, yeah, I think they said at noon they're going to do another, and then we eat. So,
The Scotchtown gunpowder incident was alive with outdoor activities, from militia drills to musket firings. To wrap up our tour, let's step back inside the house as well as explore the fascinating cellar.
Right, so this room here is going to be the formal dining room. If any guests are here to visit Scotchtown, they're going to be here in this dining room. And over here in this room, this is what I call it the flex bedroom, because it would have served as both as a guest bedroom and as a children's bedroom. It's going to serve both functions at different times. Patrick Henry has a pretty large family. With his first wife, Sarah, he will have 6 children.
Wow.
So a pretty big family. Do you think that all 6 kids are going to be staying in this room? And you may notice there's not 6 beds. They're going to be sharing beds. They got very different expectations of privacy. In 1777, Patrick remarried to a young lady named Dorothea Dandridge. The Dandridge is a very prominent family. She's a first cousin to Martha Washington, so from a very good family. But Patrick and Dorothea had another 11 children. 17 kids total. Patrick Henry reproduces like a rabbit, you know? But we meet people who are descended from Patrick Henry all the time. I like to tell people, double check your family tree. He might be hiding up there. You never know. But the joke we like to make is that George Washington might have been the father of our country, but it was Patrick Henry who peopled the country.
Yeah, peopled the country.
Absolutely.
If you look at these floorboards in here, you'll notice that there's some shims, right? So these are kind of keeping them a little bit more level.
Okay.
But that's only there because these floorboards are not in their original locations. Throughout our renovations, we had to adjust a few things. But here in the central passage, where this is pretty much entirely original, if we take a little look up, you will see that we don't have any shims. Right?
Oh,
When they
right.
put these floorboards down in the 1700s, they put them down exactly where they needed to go.
Wow.
They haven't been adjusted in any way over the years.
Sense.
So
Wow.
the central passage, we do say, is our most original room in the house. Has seen the least amount of adjustment over the years.
That's phenomenal. How long have you been doing this?
About 4 years now.
Okay.
I've been here at Scotchtown. So
Nice.
I certainly enjoy it.
Oh, yeah, I got a light on over there.
Yeah, it's maybe not quite historically accurate.
Now, where do those? Is there a passageway there?
Yeah, if you saw upstairs in the central passage, there's that what looks like a closet
Little
off your
door,
left.
yeah.
That's where that goes. So it's not actually a closet, rather it's a hole in the floor to come down to the cellar.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so there's 3 entrances to the cellar, one from within inside the home, the other 2 though are
Outside.
extra entrances.
Nice. Yeah, we got to go to Mount Vernon a few times,
Yeah.
and we got to do one of the cellar tours there too. So that was
Yeah, if you are ever interested,
okay.
throughout the month of May,
Okay.
10 a.m. So Fridays and Saturdays are 10 a.m. tours. We do an attic to cellar tour. It's about 40 minutes long. We
Oh, wow.
We talk all about the architecture of the home. We of course are down in the cellar and up in the attic as well. So it's
Awesome.
a pretty fun one.
Nice.
It's kind of that
Nice.
behind the scenes look at things.
Yeah, yeah. I was talking to Will earlier, Preservation.
Yeah.
I do a web YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I guess I'm big on history and all that. And I asked him if it would be okay if we.
Yeah.
He's here actually with the photography group.
Gotcha.
And that's my son Zach.
Mm-hmm.
And so he does a lot of my videos.
Yeah.
And the editing, because I'm not good at that part of it. But, yeah, I'm Glenn. by the
Nice to
way.
meet you, Patrick.
Patrick.
Not Henry.
Not Henry. That is hilarious.
I was gonna say, you're the guy. Oh my god.
Yeah, no, happy coincidence. That's
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Well, what a great job to have.
It is.
to-
Is this y'all's first time out to Scotchtown?
I was here. This for Zach. I was here a couple years ago. Friends of ours, they invited. They did a little ghost thing, and I think they had a company out here that had it set up all their equipment, the ghost equipment and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I forget the name, LaDonna or something like that. I forget what her name was, but that was. But I hadn't. We only got to come into the entryway,
Yeah.
and then they did a little ghost story out of the kitchen there.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I hadn't been out here. And
Yeah,
so
well, I'm glad you made it out today. And like I said, there's, whether you go on our regular house tour, it's 45 minutes, 50 minutes long, a lot of history.
Yeah.
If you go on an attic to cellar tour, it covers 40 minutes of even different stuff.
That's
And we do focus tours throughout the year on other things in addition. So yeah,
Gotcha.
it's always different things going on.
Good, good. Well, I'm definitely going to plug you guys
Yeah, we
for
appreciate it.
our site and all of that. And I definitely want to come back out and see the attic.
Yeah, that would be great.
Full tour, cellar tour, and all that. So.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to go
Patrick,
make sure
thank
I
you.
don't actually lock anyone in.
Okay.
Nice meeting you.
A special thank you to Patrick for his warm hospitality and for sharing details on how and when visitors can experience Scotchtown's rich history. What an incredible event. Before we close with more about Preservation Virginia, I'm excited to share news of another must-visit occasion this month on May 29th. Another one of Patrick Henry's homes at Red Hill, his final home and resting place. Leading this event is Patrick Henry Jolly, a direct descendant and 5th great-grandchild of Patrick Henry. For over 35 years, Jolly, now 63 and residing in Chardon, Ohio, has passionately studied and shared his ancestry legacy. He frequently visits Virginia to engage with Red Hills community, bringing to life the historical significance of this cherished site.
Hi, I'm Patrick Henry Jolly, 5th great grandson of the American patriot Patrick Henry. I want to invite you to Patrick Henry's Red Hill on May 29th. Admission is going to be free that day, and we're doing 2 events that day. We're going to be celebrating Patrick Henry's birthday. He was born on May 29th of 1736. We're going to have a wreath-laying ceremony. Sons of the American Revolution are going to be there. Daughters of the American Revolution. There's going to be a color guard. It's going to be a really exciting event. The other event begins at 11 o'clock, and we are going to be hosting our annual naturalization ceremony. If you have never experienced a naturalization ceremony, every American ought to experience this at some point. We don't want to take our freedoms for granted in this country, and we want to have you help welcome the new citizens to the United States.
So now let's dive into the story of Preservation, Virginia, a cornerstone of historic preservation. Established in 1889 as the Association for the Preservation of Virginia Antiques, this private, nonprofit organization operates independently, unbeholden to any single owner, guided by a dedicated board of trustees. Its mission is to protect and share Virginia's rich historic places. Preservation Virginia sustains its work through memberships, donations, and grants, proudly stewarding 6 historic sites across the Commonwealth. Preservation Virginia continues its vital work to safeguard the Commonwealth's historic treasures. On May 15th, 2025, Richmond's West Ham train station, a 1911 landmark facing deterioration, was added to Preservation Virginia's most endangered list, after a CBS 6 report spotlighted its plight, underscoring their commitment to advocating for at-risk sites. Additionally, with Virginia 250 grant funding, Preservation Virginia is enhancing accessibility at Patrick Henry's Scotchtown. By 2026, new pathways, ramps, and parking upgrades will ensure this historic site welcomes a broader range of visitors. And that wraps up our journey through the Scotchtown Gunpowder incident. Don't forget to explore America's 250th anniversary celebrations, 250, and revisit my 14th episode for a deep dive into the semi-quincentennial. Until our next adventure, I bid thee a fair and most pleasant day.